Welcome back to the Tea and a Buddy podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're going to be talking about US and UK music festivals, or versus, I guess. UK versus US music festivals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any differences?
I mean, we're going to be talking about the differences. Yeah, that's
Okay.
basically what it is, versus. Not
Yeah.
like we're not pitting them against each other in some sort of tournament.
I'm sorry, I feel like we're in New York City.
Why?
Because I hear honking out the window.
Oh, is there honking?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Who's
It's
honking?
taking me back. It's making me miss the...
Take me back. Take me way, way, way back to New York City.
The streets of Manhattan.
The streets of Manhattan,
Apparently they're having loads of rat problems, though, so I'm not really...
The rats have returned.
I'm not really, that...
It's
longing
Splinter
that
is
much
the
for-
rat, isn't he?
Yeah, yes.
Splinter is the rat.
The
Rats.
famous New York City rat.
Yeah. Splinter, yeah.
But yes, festivals.
Festivals for the restivals. I think the most popular US one right now is the Scandival Festival. That's happening in... They've renamed Coachella Scandival, and it's just
how
all...
I wish that existed.
Well, it kind of does with BravoCon, I guess.
Yeah.
But they should have like a Scandival festival.
Yeah, conventions
Festivals
are
for the Scandivals.
Conventions are like a sort of festival, aren't they?
Yeah, well, yes, they're just inside somewhere.
Yeah. But we're talking about music festivals.
Music
There's
festivals.
all kinds of festivals, really, but we're talking about music festivals particularly.
Yes. I mean, I think, like some of the top ones in Britain, you probably already know the biggest music festival in Britain is Glastonbury.
Yeah. And what would you say the biggest one in America is? Coachella?
Coachella. That's the that's the most well-known one.
I think Lollapalooza is also a pretty big one.
Lollapalooza, Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a list of them here actually.
But yeah, do we know...
Coachella, New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, Lollapalooza, Chicago, Outside Lands, Pitchfork Music Festival.
I think the Austin City Limits Music Festival here in Austin's pretty big.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because I looked down this list, and this is just a cursory music festivals from sources across the web. Yeah, I don't see South by Southwest on here, but I do see Austin City Limits, so that's...
South by Southwest, it's a little bit more in line with, like, I don't know, like almost like a Sundance type of thing.
It's like an arts show, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
not
kind of
quite
similar
the same.
to, I guess Cropredy in the UK is kind of like that's more like a folk festival.
Oh, yeah.
Cropredy in the UK. There's Pitchfork, there's
Governor's
Stagecoach,
Ball,
Firefly
New
Music
Orleans
Festival.
Jazz Festival,
Yeah, so all them.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of music festivals in the United States, I think.
Yeah, and there's quite a lot in Britain too, actually.
Because, I mean, Austin City Limits Music Festival has been going on for years.
Yes.
And it's only just in the last decade or so
since social media.
Gotten really popular.
Social media has popularized it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And actually, it's the only music festival I think that I've been to. When I very first moved to Austin years and years and years ago, and if you live in Austin...
Years and years ago!
Or if you know anything about Austin history, this is going to date me.
Austin history, everybody.
There was a festival called Aquafest, which I believe turned into the Austin City Limits Music Festival. And it has been going forever. It doesn't exist anymore because I think it's the one that is now Austin City Limits Music Festival. That is a mouthful for some reason for me. I'm like, Austin City Limits Music Festival.
Well, it's better than Fun Fest that you keep...
Oh, yeah.
Fun
Fest?
That's the one that you keep going on about.
We went to that one time, didn't we?
I think we did, yes, but you always say it, and it's always so cute to hear you say it, because you're Fun Fest
We
is
have
on.
the Reggae Fest. I mean, there's a few festivals just here in Austin that are like music festivals.
Yeah.
But the big ones, I mean, are the ones that
There's
you
the
mentioned.
Blues on the Green.
Blues on the Green. That's not really like a festival. I mean, it's sort
more,
of.
It's just an evening, isn't it? It's just one evening, Blues on the Green.
Throughout the summer, they do it like, I don't know, every other weekend or every third weekend, something like that. Weekend.
It's actually quite
nice
on a Wednesday. What we usually used to do is we take a couple of folding chairs.
Yeah.
And go and sit at the back of Zilker Park. And you know, because everybody would be crammed down by the stage and throwing frisbees, and the vendors and everything will be there. And it was just like, it's just nice to get out of there. Because I remember I was like, go get us an ice cream. And I had to walk like 20 miles down the park. And I got there and it was like 100 degrees that day. Yeah. And the sun was going down and it was still humid. And they had fans blowing. Mm-hmm. But there was no like air conditioning. You know, like cold air. Yeah. And I thought, and there was so many people around me and I was waiting for this ice cream. I thought, I'm going to pass out. It was that hot. Yeah. And it was like, I hadn't like, I'd eaten and everything. I was feeling fine, but I was just like, it is so hot. I'm going to literally pass out. It's so stuffy. You know? And I was just like, oh no, that would be great. Just passing out at Blues on the Green. You know?
It's always kind of interesting to me that Austin City Limits Music Festival has gotten so big because it is, I think now it's in October, but it used to be in like September, which for most of the country is, you know, sort of turning fallish. Like the weather's already cooling off a little bit. No, not here. Not here. You're still like sweating, you're dying, you're dead, you know? Yeah. It's just like, it's the face of the sun kind of heat. And so I always thought, you know, these people coming from elsewhere in the country and even sometimes from other countries for this festival, you know, depending on who's playing, like, what must they think? What must they think? Like, it's just, why are you doing this?
Well, yes.
You know, it's
It's just
standing
like,
out in the heat, you know.
I mean, that's one of the main differences. The weather's better. If you can call it better.
Yeah, well, before we get into the differences, though, what are the other big ones in the UK besides Glastonbury? Because I'm pretty sure...
Park Life.
Obviously, I've heard of Cropperty because your dad used to...
That was his festival,
die-hard Cropperty festival fan.
I don't know if that's huge to say it's huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a festival. They hold it in Oxfordshire every year or thereabouts. Yeah. And my dad and his friends would go to it and to watch, like... you know, basically folk acts. Like they had like Steel Eye Span one year. I think they had Steel Eye Span anyway. I don't know if actually Steel Eye Span is still going. They had Fairport Convention, all the old folk acts, you know. Yeah. And my dad would love it, you know. They'd usually have a big headliner. I can't remember who it was. I think I was going to say Bob Dylan might have done it one year, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know my dad said the Bootleg Beatles did it. Were there once.
they're not exactly a folk band.
Not exactly a folk band, but yeah, you know, it's just like, I think in Britain when you go to a festival, it's like an experience because, it's a weekend over here, isn't it? It's like, you know, because people are very work-minded over here, you know, it's just kind of like, weekend, we're going to Coachella, and we'll go from Friday to Monday, and that's it, you know? Yeah. Whereas in the UK, it's like, my friend went to a festival, and we haven't seen her for 2 weeks. You know, that festival's still going on.
Yeah, they camp out.
They camp out, and they have
they camp out at Coachella. Yeah. I could be wrong, but...
Yeah, no, they do camp out. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like, it's an all week experience, a week-long experience, you know? People have had, like... been, you know, fallen in love, gotten married and divorced at festivals, you know, in the UK. I mean, you know, you had Glastonbury, you have Park Life,
I've never heard of Park Life.
It's a Manchester festival.
Okay.
Isle of Wight Festival.
I have heard of Isle of Wight Festival.
That's been going for years. It stopped in 1970. I think that was the last one, and then they revived it. Yeah. At some point. The Reading Festival's been going for years too.
Oh, I've not heard of that one either.
The Reading and Leeds Festival, they call it. Yeah. But the Reading Festival, I think Jimi Hendrix played. I know Jimi Hendrix played the Isle of Wight, and I think he played the Reading Festival too. All Points East Latitude Festival, the Green Man Festival.
Oh, Green Man. Don't we have one here in the States called Burning Man?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's a festival, unless I'm just making that up.
The Burning Man Festival. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Burning Man Festival.
I haven't seen it on here, but maybe.
I mean, I don't know this. Where did you get this list from?
This is a Google list. This is just like everything
Have they
across
put
the
them
web.
in order or no?
No, it's not in order. But the most popular, the one that I've looked at is YouGov, and that's the most popular in the world.
Festivals in the world.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second.
We'll get to that in a second. Yeah. But
yeah. Green Man Festival.
Green Man Festival, the British Summertime, Hyde Park, and then there's also Tea in the Park.
Yeah.
As well, I've heard of that. Radio 1's Big Weekend.
Love Box Festival.
There's so many festivals. The Download
Yeah.
Festival. You know, it's kind of like End of the Road Festival, the Virgin V Festival. I was always hearing about, I want to go to this festival or that festival.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just kind of like, you know, it's just kind of like, there's so many festivals to choose.
I don't like music.
I don't like music. I only play it. I don't like it. World music. And, you know, like, the Proms is another festival, I guess you could call it.
Yeah. So is
Proms
Austin
in the
City
Park.
Limits Music Festival the only one you've been to also? I mean, aside from maybe, like, smaller ones we've been here.
I don't know. I think I've been to a few. I think I've been to, like, little small festivals.
Yeah. Music festivals, though.
Music festivals, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple in Swansea that were, like, they were, you know, like, little, like, the bands were playing outside. You know, and it was like.
But it's more than like a day because a festival.
I haven't been to like the
festival's got to be
Glastonbury or
like more than
Tea
a
in the
day.
Park or anything.
Because I've been to like concerts that radio stations have put on, you know, and they're like free concerts or sometimes you have to pay or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're usually just like a day. They're not a whole weekend or a whole week or, you know, whatever.
Secret Garden Party. Yeah, there's a lot. Glastonbury. The Edinburgh Festival. That's a. Well, I mean, I guess that's not really a music festival. It's more like a comedy.
Well,
the Fringe Festival.
Yeah. Yes.
But BBC Radio 1's Big Weekend. Yeah, a lot of the big and Tea in the Park.
So what are the biggest ones worldwide then?
The most popular ones worldwide.
And you guys let us know which festivals you've been to
Yeah.
because I know, you know, we have some followers who have told us about going to festivals before and they're like, yeah, it's a big deal, you know.
Yeah.
This festival or that festival, and I mean, we've never heard of them.
I mean, yes.
It's just like there's so many.
Yeah. This is YouGov UK, so it might be a little bit biased.
Okay.
It's number 1 is Glastonbury, and that's got 51% popularity.
Yeah.
Then it's the BBC Proms.
I mean, this is probably going to be just Britain, I would assume.
No, because Coachella's on here too.
Oh, okay.
Coachella's number.
Well, these
18.
are the most popular music festivals
Escape.
as voted on.
V Festival? Do you have the V Festival over here?
I don't know what that is. The most popular music festivals as voted on by British people.
Yes.
So there might be some American ones on
New
here.
Orleans
or possibly...
Jazz and Heritage Festival. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Truck Festival.
Okay, so let's see what British people
Montreal
say
Jazz
are
Festival.
the most popular.
Well, I mean, number 1 is Glastonbury, obviously.
Yeah.
The BBC Proms, number 2. Number 3, Edinburgh International Festival.
Okay.
The Isle of Wight Festival, number 4. Radio 1's Big Weekend, number 6, which they broadcast that live on Radio 1 during the weekend.
Okay, yeah.
You have people like Adele and everyone playing that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's a
I
pretty
think
big
we
deal.
have, like,
and
the
that goes on.
iHeartRadio.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a festival here, yeah.
And that one travels around the
Similar.
country every time.
I don't know.
'Cause sometimes
it's held in a different place, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, I think so.
It travels around the country, yeah. V Festival, I think that used to be the Reading, because there's the Reading and Leeds festivals.
I don't know what the V Festival is.
Tea in the Park, which I think is Hyde Park. Creamfields, that's an electronic music festival.
You know the one
DJ James Kennedy.
You know the one that I used to want to go to all the time. I don't even know if he still holds it though. The Crossroads Guitar Festival.
I think he's doing it next year.
Oh, is he?
I think Eric's doing it next year. Yeah, so yeah.
That was all that's always like, you know, a top one that I would like to go to if possible. Yeah.
The Wireless Festival.
I don't know what these are.
The BST, or the British Summertime Festival. I think that's held in Hyde Park too in London.
Yeah.
Download Festival, Park Life, the
I
Cheltenham
think I have
Music-
heard of Download Festival, actually.
Cardiff Big Weekend. Yeah, because I think a lot of these festivals...
Cardiff Big Weekend is bigger than Coachella.
It's one bigger than Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival. I think it slipped down the charts, though, due to Scandival allegedly happening there. The Great Escape, I've heard of that.
Oh my gosh.
Camp Festival, Latitude Festival, the Whitby Gothic Weekend. So there you go. You've got some Dracula.
Rewind Festival. I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tipping Point Live.
I don't know.
The English Music Festival.
Nope.
That's, I think it's a choir festival, actually. I think all the choirs turn up and give a good old choir at you.
Give a good old choir at you, okay?
I think it is, anyway. I'm not sure.
Don't know.
Really
I'm not sure.
But,
Alright, so maybe we should probably get into the differences now.
The differences.
And I'm really curious about this, because how many differences could there possibly be? I mean,
there's not too many.
Music is music.
Music is music, and
People
the
are
audience. People are people. And alcohol is alcohol.
Yes, exactly.
But at festivals in the UK, at least, they are quite tight on bringing alcohol in, because the vendors are there. They've paid money to be there, and they expect to make something back.
Haven't you seen Vanderpump Rules?
Yes.
I mean, these people... Because
they've got Brock coming in his shoe, isn't he?
They smuggle alcohol in tampons.
He's pouring the freaking whiskey into his shoe and drinking it.
Sunscreen bottles.
No, they do that. They do that in the UK too.
Yeah.
It's all like fake Coke cans, which are actually
I thought you were going to say something else. Fake Coke cans.
Fake cocaine.
Fake Coke cans. Oh, yeah.
They put a sleeve over like like it's a fake Coke, it's like a Budweiser. Yeah, they've... And I mean, but sometimes they're really like they're on the ball. It's just water, and it's in a water bottle, but it's actually vodka or gin or something,
How do they have the time, though,
they go through the bags.
Look at that, because haven't you seen the lines to get into these festivals? Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, they find ways around it, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The living conditions, they're living in a cramped space. That's partially bedroom, dressing room, and kitchen. Because people don't want to buy food there either. They'll smuggle in food.
Okay, yeah.
They'll smuggle in bachelor's super noodles or ramen noodles. And a little cooker, and they'll just camp out and they'll make noodles and hot dogs and whatever, on it. So
I've never been to a camp festival. Like, you cannot camp at Austin City Limits Music Festival.
No, because it's only a weekend, isn't it?
Well, they're holding it now for 2 weekends. So
yeah, but I mean, they're spaced apart,
They're spaced apart. But because it's held in Zilker Park, and Zilker Park is right next to neighborhoods, like, the neighborhoods are like, nah, we're not having people camping there,
The Glastonbury Festival, that's on a farm. It's like Woodstock, that was like that was the ultimate festival, wasn't it? Woodstock.
Oh yeah.
But they cut that, they shut that down after that one.
Oh yeah.
And there was the Monterey Pop Festival.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was a big one. Yeah, these are ones that are like, we're not having them again because there's too much trouble. All them hippies,
Yeah. Yes. The living conditions.
Yes.
Yes. Like, they were a problem.
There was like everything was everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like the tidy, clean tent will be muddy and beer stained and probably like leaking and everything else.
But I would think that's true no matter where the festival is.
I mean, in the UK, the weather conditions is another thing. In England, festivals happen in the summer. There's never 100% chance of it not raining. Over here, it's kind of like in Texas, especially. It's like there's a good chance of it being 100 degrees.
Yeah.
And sunny.
We actually have had Austin City Limits music festivals that have been a muddy nightmare, apparently. Not that I've been to, but I've seen them on the news.
Yeah, usually Glastonbury or Reading or Leeds festivals, they usually are a muddy mess.
Yeah.
Team Park, it's always usually like a lot of people in a field.
I think when they rebooted the Woodstock, it was a muddy nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. If you have it in a farm, you've got to have good drainage.
Oh,
so if it rains, the field has got to be kind of like just damp, and that's it. No. You got to have good drainage because that's what my dad was saying once. He said, "Oh, we went to Cropperty and it rained.
Yeah,
and the weather was pretty terrible, but there was good drainage. There was good drainage on the field." In this place, because there was no, we weren't muddy, we weren't like slipping and sliding all the time,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can totally see like, oh yeah, the toilet conditions and everybody's everywhere and slipping and sliding and they're just all muddy and, you don't have a bath.
Oh yeah.
There's no showers. I think they were talking about putting showers in, weren't they?
I don't know.
At Coachella or something. Oh no, it was that guy who scammed everyone.
Oh.
And he was like, "Oh, I'm going to put on this huge music festival for everyone." And I can't remember. The Firefly, maybe? Or
Fire Festival? I think it was just Fire Festival.
And he was like, "Oh, you're going to have all this, and it's going to be the greatest living conditions and up to date." And it was just like porta potties and...
Everybody thought that was going to be like the best festival.
And it was terrible.
Before we continue on, I've just looked up really quickly. The oldest running rock festival is apparently the Reading Festival.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. The oldest still running.
Still run continuously every year. Yeah, the Reading... I thought it was, because I think Jimi Hendrix played that.
Yeah, so. Nirvana, Public Enemy, like they've had...
they've had everyone then.
They've had a lot of people, yeah. I don't know how long it's been running since...
It's got to have been like 1965.
I don't know. All I see is like 1992. I mean, that doesn't seem like it's so old, but...
Okay, yeah, it started up in 1971, the Reading Festival, but before that, it was like the Bolio Jazz Festival.
Okay.
Or the National Jazz Festival.
So yeah, it seems like a lot of these festivals morph into other festivals.
It's kind of like jazz, there's like, oh, we're having this jazz festival. Because, everyone's having the jazz festival in the 1950s because everybody remembers jazz from 1920s, 1930s, Like the Roaring Twenties, so that was kind of like their rock and roll.
Yes.
So when rock and roll came along and rock festivals started happening, it was kind of like, okay, you can't play that music here. This is a jazz festival, It's like what the Beatles used to say. George Harrison said, oh, because the Cavern Club was a jazz club beforehand.
Yeah, yes.
And we'd get up and we'd start playing, this is one's by Lead Belly, it's called Long Tall Sally, and we'd go into it and they'd be like, you can't play it, this is a jazz club. And so I have a feeling like the National Jazz Festival, it was just like, we're going to book Cream this year and just hope they don't notice,
Right. Well, like the Newport Folk Festival. Yeah. Yeah. Bob Dylan started playing electric,
Oh, no, I thought that was in Manchester he started that. Oh, but maybe he turned up at Newport with it too, and they weren't having it either. Yeah.
They weren't.
Every time I think of
but
Newport Folk Festival, I think Newport in Wales.
Yeah.
It's Newport, Connecticut, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, something like that. It's on the East Coast. But yeah, no, I mean, he was welcome at the Newport Folk Festival when he was just in his check shirt playing his guitar, playing his acoustic guitar. But yeah, when he was all like booted and suited and playing the Fender, Strat, that was the end of it. He was booed beyond belief. But yes, jazz and blues, it was kind of like the Reading Festival, it just went straight into like, the rock music. I'm fairly certain that Jimi Hendrix Experience played there in the late 60s. But yes, I mean,
to get back to the differences.
Yeah. toilet conditions.
Mm-hmm.
UK festivals are famously just men using anything as a toilet.
Oh, jeez.
These men will
Lovely.
wee against walls, against ice cream vans.
Oh, no!
Anywhere that isn't a portaloo. Truthfully, I'm pretty sure that if women could wee as easily as they would, instead we have to endure the horrific open grave portaloos that more often than not someone's dropped a phone in.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's like we're really selling the idea of a great festival here, aren't we?
Yes. For anybody who hasn't ever been to one.
It's like, I don't know how the amount of people at the festival, and they wanted that fire festival to be like, oh yeah, luxury glamping type things with like clean running water and everything like that.
Something, yeah.
And it's kind of like you'd have to airlift in like cubicles and like, like what they do for like when they set up like an Antarctic base or something, they put in the modules and stuff.
Yeah.
You'd have to put them. There'd have to be hundreds of them for like people to share, kind of like mini hostels. I mean, it could be done, but it's like it's going to be an enormous amount of money.
Yes.
That they wouldn't make back.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah. The toilet conditions, though.
Yeah.
They really are the worst, probably the worst thing at a festival that you have to deal with. Yeah. Aside from, like, possibly losing something or, maybe getting pickpocketed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Drinking conditions. Drinking at UK festivals is integral as actually seeing the music and camping. For many people, this doesn't mean drinking a nicely mixed gin and tonic in the sun, rather downing a 10-pack of tinnies amid lewd drinking games and preloading so you don't have to pay for anything in the festival site. And festival security is generally very tight and getting drinks into the actual site is very hard. But drinking in the campsite is usually very social and exciting before the show starts.
I mean, I think that I may just be, like, too much of a prude or, like, too... But it's like, the prices to get into these festivals is so expensive.
It's like $500 a ticket, sometimes even more than that.
I cannot imagine, like, just being completely out of my mind and not remembering then any of the shows that I've seen, any of the fun that I had because I was just too wasted. I cannot.
Oh, so wasted, bro.
No.
Oh, bro, what was
and that goes for, like, anybody who is, like, out of their mind at any concert, let alone a festival,
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, eating conditions,
Call me a stick in the mud.
The catering companies, as most festival sites have, they'll have food trucks and whatever.
Yeah.
They're usually quite highly priced because, they've had to pay a fortune to get the permit to be on the site and be on the land and everything like that.
Yeah.
And sell the food and everything like that. So they've got to, like, price it out of the market.
Oh, I mean, boo-hoo, poor them. They're jacking the price up because they know you're stuck there and you have to eat their food.
Well, yeah, unless you've been to Tesco. And
can you bring food in? You usually can't bring food in.
Usually what people do is they sneak packs of, like, super noodles in.
I mean, again, I haven't been to one of these, like, camping
breakfast
festivals.
bars and tinned pasta. Like tinned spaghetti and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I haven't been to a camping festival. Like, Austin City Limits Music Festival, no. I think maybe you can bring in bottled water. But you can't bring in, like, food, your own food and your own alcohol and all of that kind of stuff. They want you to buy it from them, Yeah. Maybe when you're camping, though, at some of these festivals where you can actually camp, you're probably surely allowed to bring in your own food and stuff.
No, I'm sure, because, I mean, they're going to run out of food from the amount of people are there, unless you have, like, I mean, you've got to, like, okay, we've got to, like, 1,000 people.
Yeah.
So, figure it out, how much you can sell on this,
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, sorry, we're all out of the chicken curry, and it's just like,
yeah.
I was really looking forward to that chicken curry. And
everybody's been raving about it.
Everybody's raving about it, and I've had none.
Chicken curry, that's a difference. You might not find chicken curry at
Go and fish
the
curry.
festival.
Yeah. Fish curry.
I say that, you probably can, really.
Yeah, I mean, because that's another thing. The food trucks. It'll be all Mexican food here.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably might not be able to find much Mexican food at a British festival. Yeah, I mean, the thing is we're talking about the differences. There's probably very few differences nowadays.
Thanks to the internet. The internet has made everything homogenous.
You want to have I want to have a wide variety of ethnic kind of cuisines to choose from, because there's people from all over the world, if you're being realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's I mean, there's probably very
You can get fish and
chips,
nowadays. You can get chicken curry, you can get tacos, you can get hamburgers, you can get hot dogs. I mean, really though, that's the kind of food you want to eat at a festival. You know, you want to have something that's easy and quick to eat. So,
not messy.
And non-messy.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want a huge, I don't know, people go, I gotta go and get this bowl of noodles from this Chinese or this Vietnamese, what's it called, pho. You know, and it's this soup, and it's just kind of it's just messy and it's too hot. Bro, what was that?
You don't want to spill stuff all down. You don't want to spill stuff all down your clothes.
Well, yeah, your clothing conditions. I mean, everybody's half naked at these places anyway, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And and it's just kind of so it doesn't really matter.
Coachella particularly. I don't know about the rest of the festivals.
Everyone's at Coachella and they're all just they're all made up.
Coachella particularly has been a costume contest almost.
It was who can be the biggest peacock?
Who can wear the wildest kind of ensembles you've ever seen, it's like a fashion show, it's like a competition, basically. The rest of the festivals, they're slightly more toned down, I think, but yes, very little clothing. Well, it's so hot when they have these festivals, in most of the places that they have them in. Even in the UK, I think the festivals are held in the summer, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
So
I mean, they're not going to held in the winter.
Yeah, so it's understandable.
Freezing bloody cold, mate.
Nobody's judging anybody for being naked at these things,
Fashion at British festivals is very simple. It's strategic and yet somehow shows a lot of skin. If the weather is nice for women, it's denim shorts, crop tops, and wellies, which are like rain shoes. For men, it's shorts, a t-shirt but not being worn, and wellies.
But not being worn.
Yes, everyone's shirtless. It's also a necessity for everyone to be wearing enough glitter to turn the air sparkly. At US festivals, you can never really predict what people will have on, which is definitely a difference between the UK.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then there's the dancing conditions. People just dancing in the mud, slipping and sliding.
How is that different, though? What's the difference? What are they telling us here?
The idea of the gathering of like-minded musical souls who all want to enjoy the same sounds at you is very comforting. It's a very comforting thought. What isn't as comforting is how some people find it possible to create a mosh pit in any genre of music. I've been in Arctic Monkeys mosh pits as well as Blink-182, and the different styles of music do not matter as long as you can bounce and move. A festival full of drunken young adults is the perfect place to let loose and just mosh to your heart's content. Yeah, that's another thing. People are... because you get this kind of two types of people at a music festival. People who want to get drunk and go, way, and dance, way, Viagra, way, put in a plug, these two, And then you have people who just want to, smoke marijuana and just chill out and listen to the music. But then they've got, way, someone covered in mud, rolling around in the mud. It's yeah, it's oh man, it's just too noise. But in the UK, the music conditions, many festivals in the UK are very musically diverse, although some are very much one genre or a collection of similar genres. There's usually something for everyone at festivals nowadays. A lot of festivals have art tents as well as comedy and other creative outlets.
Oh, that's interesting.
So if it's I don't care about this band. Let's go watch that stand-up that's going on over there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Or let's go look at some paintings that the local artist has done.
Yeah. I like the festivals that are kind of all-inclusive, all different types of music.
Yes.
You know, like, yeah, you can see a country band, you can see a rap artist, you know. You can see anyone in between, really.
In the US, I think it's more a case of, like, if this band sucks, then you've just got to go back to your campsite and drink some more and leave it.
I mean, it just depends on the festival. There's shopping. There's always, like, you know, you can always go, like...
I guess so.
Look at booths and stuff, yeah.
I suppose, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nowadays, there's a lot of, like, interactive things.
Yeah.
You know, like, places to take selfies and...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's all kinds of stuff like that, so yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I mean, that's about it,
That's it. So, basically... Not a lot of differences.
Not a lot of differences. I mean, just differences in, like... I mean, festival culture.
It's just culture, really, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, drinking and stuff happens at the US ones, but I mean, people get drunk and, yeah, you know... But I don't know if it's, way Viagra! Look at these two!
Yeah.
You know, but it's just...
He's referencing Vanderpump Rules in case you're worried about him over there.
But, you know, it's like, whereas I guess over here, most music festivals are just like, oh, people get drunk and they're just like chatting away or something and they're being a little bit loud and obnoxious, but not as loud as obnoxious.
I mean, you know, it just depends on the person, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Let us know if you've been to a festival in the UK.
For the festival.
And if you've been to a festival also in the United States and any differences or similarities you observed. Particularly differences, because I didn't find that on that list that we were just looking at. Where was that list from, by the way? Do you remember the website? I've already closed out of it.
It's society19.com.
Okay, Society19. I didn't find that there were that many differences, to be honest.
There wasn't too many
basically,
differences.
it's just cultural differences in the people themselves and how they handle situations.
I mean, you know, music is music wherever you go.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So I'm curious if you have been to, like, let's say Glastonbury and you've also been to Coachella. Let us know what the differences are. I think I would like to go to probably both of those festivals at some point, if I'm not too old. Are we too old to go to these festivals at this point?
We're not too old to go to any festivals. I think there's a lot. It's people think, oh, it's a game for the young, but it's like, I mean, the cast of Vanderpump Rules go to Coachella, and they're getting on there, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're getting up there.
I mean, Paul McCartney played Austin City Limits Music Festival, and he's, 80 this year?
And I'm sure there's, like, people who are octogenarians, jamming out in a tent somewhere.
Oh, yeah, there's so many
I've got to sit down. I've got to take my back pill.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much, as always, for tuning in. We really appreciate your support. Hope that you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to give us a follow on social media. If you don't already, we are at TButty, TEABUTTY on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and we'll talk to you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye!
Woo!